Africa, a continent rich in natural resources, culture, and history, has been plagued by a recurring issue: greedy politicians who prioritize their personal wealth over the welfare of their people. While many leaders indulge in corruption and excesses, a new wave of leadership is emerging, with figures like Ibrahim Traoré setting an example of selflessness and dedication to the people. Traoré, the current leader of Burkina Faso, has made headlines for his simplicity, patriotism, and genuine concern for his country. His leadership starkly contrasts with the greed and mismanagement seen in many African governments. This article explores the lessons that African politicians should learn from Ibrahim Traoré to foster good governance and sustainable development. 1. Leadership should be about service, not personal enrichment. Many African politicians see leadership as an opportunity to amass wealth rather than a responsibility to serve the people. Corruption, embezzlement, and nepotism have become common practices in several governments. In contrast, Traoré has demonstrated humility and commitment to his people by focusing on national interests rather than personal gains. Lesson: leaders should prioritize national development over personal wealth accumulation. Public service should be about improving citizens' lives, not exploiting resources for selfish gain. Policies should reflect the needs of the people rather than political elites. 2. A leader should be accessible and live modestly. Unlike many African politicians who build lavish mansions and hoard wealth in foreign accounts, Traoré is known for his simple lifestyle. He remains close to his people, avoids unnecessary luxuries, and focuses on practical solutions for national problems. Lesson: leaders should remain humble and accessible to their people. Extravagance in government should be minimized to allocate resources toward development. A simple and relatable leader earns the trust of the people. 3. Prioritizing national security and sovereignty. One of Traoré's key policies has been securing Burkina Faso against external threats, especially terrorism. He prioritizes national defense, ensuring that security forces are well-equipped and motivated to protect the country. Lesson: African leaders must take national security seriously rather than relying on foreign powers. A strong and independent nation requires investment in security forces and local defense mechanisms. The welfare of military personnel should be a priority to ensure a secure country. 4. Youth empowerment over political elitism. A significant problem in African politics is the domination of leadership by aging elites who refuse to pave the way for young, dynamic leaders. Ibrahim Traoré, at a young age, has shown that leadership is about vision and action, not just experience. Lesson: governments should invest in youth empowerment and leadership development. Opportunities should be created for young people to participate in governance. Policies should favor innovation, entrepreneurship, and education for youth. 5. Rejecting Western puppetry and promoting self-reliance. Many African politicians depend heavily on Western countries for aid, economic direction, and military intervention. This dependency often leads to exploitation and loss of sovereignty. Traoré, however, has advocated for Burkina Faso's self-reliance and independence from neo-colonial influences. Lesson: African leaders should put their nations first rather than being pawns of foreign powers. Economic policies should focus on local production and self-sustainability. True leadership means standing firm for national interests rather than external influences. 6. Tackling corruption with action, not words. Many African politicians pay lip service to the fight against corruption while continuing to engage in it behind closed doors. Ibrahim Traoré has taken real steps to combat corruption, setting an example of accountability. Lesson: leaders should implement strict anti-corruption measures and enforce transparency. Public funds should be directed towards national development, not personal enrichment. Government officials should be held accountable for mismanagement and corruption. 7. Building a united nation instead of fostering division. Many politicians thrive on ethnic, religious, or political divisions to maintain power. Traoré, however, emphasizes national unity and inclusivity, recognizing that a divided country cannot progress. Lesson: leadership should promote peace and unity rather than division. Policies should be inclusive and cater to all citizens regardless of background. Political leaders should focus on national cohesion rather than tribalism. Conclusion: Ibrahim Traoré's leadership is a breath of fresh air in African politics, providing a stark contrast to the greed and selfishness of many politicians on the continent. His example proves that leadership should be about service, accountability, and national development rather than personal gain. If African politicians adopt even a fraction of his principles, the continent can move toward a brighter and more prosperous future. It's time for African leaders to stop looting their countries and start leading with integrity, humility, and patriotism, just like Ibrahim Traoré. Would you like any modifications or additions?